Hello everyone, this is Sarah from Super English Talks. Welcome back to another lesson. Today I am so excited to talk with you about something really important. We're going to talk about English listening practice and how you can learn English in the best way possible. This is going to be a complete guide for you. I will share everything I know about learning English, and I promise to speak slowly and clearly so you can understand every single word. So get comfortable. Maybe grab a cup of tea or coffee, and let us begin this journey together. First of all, I want to say something really important. Learning English is not easy, but it is definitely possible. I know many of you feel frustrated sometimes. I know you watch English videos and think, why can I not understand everything? I know you try to speak English and feel nervous. I know you study grammar and forget it the next day. All of these feelings are completely normal. Every single person who learned English felt the same way at some point. So please do not be hard on yourself. You are doing great just by being here and trying to improve. Now, let me tell you a little story. Many years ago, I met a student named Maria. Maria was from Brazil, and she wanted to learn English so badly. She studied grammar books every day. She memorized hundreds of words. She did exercises and tests. But when she tried to watch an English movie or talk to an English speaker, she could not understand anything. She felt so disappointed. She came to me and said, "Sarah, I have been studying English for 2 years, but I still cannot understand when people speak. What am I doing wrong?" And I told her something that changed everything for her. I said, "Maria, you're studying English, but you are not practicing English. There is a big difference. Studying means you read books and memorize rules. Practicing means you actually use English. You listen to it, you speak it, you make mistakes, and you learn from those mistakes." After that conversation, Maria changed her approach. She started listening to English podcasts every day. She watched English shows with subtitles. She joined English conversation groups online. And guess what happened? 6 months later, her English improved so much that she could understand almost everything. She could watch movies without subtitles. She could have conversations with native speakers. She was so happy, and I was so proud of her. So, what is the lesson from Maria's story? The lesson is that listening practice is one of the most important things you can do to improve your English. In fact, I believe listening practice is even more important than grammar study in the beginning.
Why?
Because when you were a baby, you did not learn your native language by studying grammar. You learned it by listening. You listened to your parents talk. You listened to people around you. You heard the same words again and again. And slowly, very slowly, you started to understand. Then you started to speak. Grammar came much later. English is the same. If you want to speak English well, you need to listen to English a lot. You need to train your ears to understand English sounds, English rhythms, and English patterns. But here's the problem that many students face. They listen to English, but they listen to the wrong kind of English.
What do I mean by that?
Well, imagine you are at a beginner level and you try to listen to a fast English podcast about politics or science. You will not understand anything. You will feel confused and frustrated. This is like trying to run a marathon when you have never run before. You need to start slow. You need to listen to English that matches your level. If you are a beginner, listen to slow, clear English. If you are intermediate, you can listen to normal speed English. If you are advanced, you can challenge yourself with fast, natural English. The key is to find English content that is just a little bit difficult for you. Not too easy, not too hard. Just right. This is called comprehensible input, and it is the secret to improving your listening skills. Let me explain comprehensible input a little more, because it is so important. Comprehensible input means English that you can mostly understand, but with some new words or phrases that you can guess from context. For example, imagine you understand about 70 to 80% of what you hear. The other 20 to 30% is new, but you can guess what it means from the situation or the other words around it. This is perfect. This is exactly the level you need. If you understand 100%, it is too easy and you will not learn anything new. If you understand less than 50%, it is too hard and you will just feel lost. So always try to find that sweet spot where you understand most things but still learn new things. Now, let me talk about the different types of listening practice you can do. There are many ways to practice listening, and I want you to try different methods to see what works best for you. The first type is passive listening. Passive listening means you listen to English while doing other things. For example, you listen to English music while cooking. You listen to an English podcast while walking. You play an English video in the background while cleaning your house. Passive listening is good because it helps your brain get used to English sounds. It is like background music for your brain. However, passive listening alone is not enough. You also need active listening. Active listening is when you focus completely on the English you are hearing. You sit down, you pay attention, and you try to understand every word. You might take notes. You might repeat sentences. You might pause and think about what was said. Active listening is harder than passive listening, but it is much more effective. This is where real learning happens. I recommend doing at least 15 to 30 minutes of active listening every day. It does not have to be a long time. Even 15 minutes of focused, active listening is better than 2 hours of passive listening where you're not really paying attention. Another great type of listening practice is listening with subtitles. Now, I know some people say you should never use subtitles because they're a crutch, but I disagree. I think subtitles can be very helpful, especially for beginners and intermediate learners. Here is how to use subtitles correctly. First, watch a video with English subtitles. Read along and listen at the same time. This helps you connect the sounds you hear with the written words. Second, watch the same video again, without subtitles. Try to understand just by listening. Third, if you did not understand something, watch it one more time with subtitles to check. This method is really powerful because you are training both your listening skills and your reading skills at the same time. Your brain starts to recognize how English words sound, even if they're spelled differently than you expected. For example, the word though is spelled with a G and an H, but it sounds like though. When you see the subtitle and hear the sound together, your brain makes that connection. Let me tell you about another important thing: the speed of English. Many students tell me, Sarah, native speakers talk so fast. I cannot understand them. And yes, it is true that native speakers often talk quickly. But here is a secret. They are not actually talking that fast. It just sounds fast to you because you are not used to it yet. Think about your native language. When you hear people speak your native language, does it sound fast? Probably not because you're used to it. Your brain processes it automatically. The same thing will happen with English if you practice enough. Your brain will get faster at processing English sounds, and suddenly, native speakers will not sound so fast anymore. but this takes time and practice. So, be patient with yourself. Start with slow English and gradually increase the speed as you improve. Now I want to talk about pronunciation and why it is connected to listening. Many students do not realize this, but if you cannot pronounce a word correctly, you probably will not recognize it when you hear it.
Let me give you an example.
The word comfortable. Many students pronounce it as comfortably with 4 syllables. But native speakers usually say it as comfortable with 3 syllables. So when a native speaker says, "This chair is comfortable," a student might not recognize the word because it sounds different from how they pronounce it in their head. This is why practicing pronunciation is actually a part of practicing listening. When you learn to pronounce words like a native speaker, you will also find it easier to understand native speakers. So I always recommend that you repeat what you hear. When you watch an English video, pause it sometimes and repeat the sentences. Try to copy the pronunciation, the rhythm, and the intonation. This is called shadowing, and it is one of the best techniques for improving both your speaking and listening skills. Let me tell you about some common mistakes that students make with listening practice. The first mistake is giving up too soon. Many students listen to something in English, do not understand it, and think, "This is too hard, I will never understand English."
Then they stop trying.
This is like going to the gym one time and expecting to have big muscles.
It does not work that way.
Learning takes time. You need to be consistent. You need to practice a little bit every single day, even if it is just 10 or 15 minutes. Small daily practice is much better than studying for 5 hours once a week. The second mistake is only listening to one type of English. Some students only listen to British English. Some only listen to American English. Some only listen to formal English or only casual English. But in the real world, you will meet people from many different countries who speak English in different ways. So you need to expose yourself to different accents, different speeds, and different topics. Listen to podcasts, watch movies, watch YouTube videos, listen to songs, watch documentaries. The more variety you have, the better your listening skills will become. The third mistake is not reviewing. Many students listen to something once and never listen to it again. But repetition is so important for learning. When you listen to the same content multiple times, you understand more each time. The first time, you might understand 50%. The second time, you might understand 70%. The third time, you might understand 90%. And each time, you're training your brain to recognize those English patterns. So, do not be afraid to listen to the same thing many times. In fact, I encourage it. Find content that you enjoy and listen to it again and again. You will be surprised at how much more you understand each time. Now, let me give you a step-by-step method for improving your listening skills. This is a method that has worked for thousands of my students, and I know it will work for you too. Step 1. Choose content at your level. Remember what I said about comprehensible input. Find English content where you understand about 70 to 80%. This could be a YouTube video, a podcast episode, a TV show, whatever you enjoy. Step 2. Listen to it once without stopping. Just let it play and try to understand the general idea. Do not worry if you miss some words. Just get the overall meaning. Step 3. Listen again, but this time with subtitles or a transcript. Read along as you listen. Notice the words you did not catch the first time. Step 4. Write down any new words or phrases that you want to remember. Look up their meanings and write example sentences. Step 5. Listen one more time without subtitles. See if you can understand more now. Step 6. Try to summarize what you heard in your own words. You can write it down or say it out loud. Both types are important, and you should do both. Maybe do intensive listening for 30 minutes 3 times a week, and do extensive listening every day. I want to talk about something else that is very important: the difference between understanding and translating. Many students, when they listen to English, try to translate every word into their native language in their head. This is a natural habit, but it slows you down a lot. When you translate, you cannot keep up with the speed of natural English. And you miss the next sentences because you are still translating the previous sentences. So what should you do instead? You need to train yourself to think in English. This sounds difficult, but it becomes easier with practice. Here is how to do it. When you hear an English word or phrase, try to picture the meaning in your mind instead of translating it. For example, if you hear the word dog, do not think of the word for dog in your language. Instead, picture a dog in your mind. If you hear the phrase going to the store, picture someone walking into a store. By creating mental images instead of translations, you will understand English much faster. And over time, this will become automatic. Let me also mention the importance of learning chunks instead of individual words. What are chunks? Chunks are groups of words that naturally go together. For example, nice to meet you is a chunk. How are you doing is a chunk. I would like to is a chunk. When you learn English, do not just memorize individual words. Memorize these common chunks.
Why?
Because this is how native speakers actually use English. We do not build sentences word by word from scratch. We use these ready-made chunks and combine them in different ways. And when you listen to English, if you recognize these chunks, you will understand much faster. So when you're doing listening practice, pay attention to phrases that you hear again and again. Write them down. Practice them. Use them in your own speaking. This will make both your listening and speaking much more natural and fluent. Now I want to address a concern that many students have. They say, Sarah, I understand English when I am alone and listening to a lesson or a podcast. But when I try to have a real conversation with someone, I cannot understand anything. Why is this? And the reason is that real conversations are different from prepared content. In a real conversation, people speak faster, they use slang and informal language, they do not finish their sentences, they interrupt each other, and there is background noise. All of these things make it harder to understand. So what can you do? You need to practice listening to real conversations. One way to do this is to watch unscripted content, like reality TV shows, talk shows, or vlogs. Another way is to join conversation groups where you can practice listening and speaking with real people. There are many online platforms where you can find language exchange partners or join group conversations. Yes, it will be uncomfortable at first. Yes, you will not understand everything. But this is exactly the kind of practice you need to prepare for real-life situations. Let me tell you about the power of consistency. I cannot stress this enough. Consistency is more important than intensity. It is better to practice English for 20 minutes every single day than to practice for 3 hours once a week.
Why?
Because your brain needs regular exposure to English to build strong neural connections. When you practice every day, even for a short time, you keep the English language fresh in your mind. You build momentum. You create a habit. But when you only practice once in a while, your brain forgets what it learned, and you have to start over each time. So make English a part of your daily routine. Maybe listen to English while you have breakfast. Maybe watch an English video before bed. Maybe listen to an English podcast during your commute. Find small moments in your day where you can fit in some English practice. Over time, these small moments add up to big improvements. I also want to talk about the role of grammar in listening practice. Many students wonder, do I need to study grammar to improve my listening skills? The answer is yes and no. Let me explain. You do not need to memorize grammar rules to understand English when you listen. In fact, thinking about grammar rules while listening will slow you down. However, having a basic understanding of how English sentences are structured will help you predict what comes next when you listen. For example, if you know that in English the verb usually comes after the subject, this helps you follow the sentence. If you know common sentence patterns, your brain can anticipate what it is about to hear. So my recommendation is this. Study grammar a little bit, enough to understand the basic structures. But do not obsess over it. And definitely do not think about grammar rules when you're listening. The grammar knowledge should be in the background, helping your brain process English automatically. Now, let me give you some tips for dealing with fast English. As I mentioned before, native speakers seem to speak very fast to learners. But here is what is really happening. Native speakers use something called connected speech. This means that words flow together and change their pronunciation when they are next to other words. For example, wanna sounds like wanna. Gonna sounds like gonna.
Did you sounds like didja.
A lot of sounds like a lot. This is completely normal and natural in English. But if you do not know about connected speech, you'll be confused when you hear it. So you need to learn about these patterns. Listen carefully to how native speakers connect words. Practice saying sentences with connected speech yourself. There are many YouTube videos that teach connected speech patterns. Once you understand these patterns, fast English will suddenly become much clearer. I want to share one more technique with you. It is called prediction. Prediction means guessing what will come next based on context. This is a skill that native speakers use automatically, and you can learn to do it too. For example, if someone says, I am so hungry, I think I will go to the, you can predict that the next word is probably restaurant or kitchen or store. If someone says it is raining outside, so do not forget you can predict umbrella or jacket. When you practice prediction, you are training your brain to understand English faster because you are not waiting to hear every word. You are actively processing the meaning and anticipating what comes next. This makes listening much less tiring and much more efficient. So when you do listening practice, try to predict what the speaker will say next. You will not always be right, but that is okay. The practice itself is valuable. Let me now talk about the emotional side of language learning. Learning English can be frustrating, and I want you to know that it is okay to feel frustrated sometimes. It is okay to have days when you feel like you are not making progress. It is okay to feel tired or overwhelmed. These feelings are part of the learning process. But do not let these feelings stop you from continuing. When you feel frustrated, take a break. Do something you enjoy. Then come back to English later with a fresh mind. Remember why you started learning English in the first place. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to get a better job. Maybe you want to make friends from other countries. Maybe you just love languages. Whatever your reason is, hold on to it. Let it motivate you when things get tough. And celebrate your small victories. When you understand a sentence you could not understand before, celebrate it. When you learn a new word, celebrate it. When you have a conversation in English, even if it is short, celebrate it. These small victories add up to big success over time. I also want to encourage you to be kind to yourself. Many students are very hard on themselves when they make mistakes or when they do not understand something. But mistakes are not failures. Mistakes are proof that you are trying. Mistakes are how you learn. Every person who speaks English well made thousands of mistakes before they got to that level. So when you make a mistake, do not feel bad. Just notice it, learn from it, and move on. Do not waste energy feeling embarrassed or stupid.
You are not stupid.
You are brave. You are learning a whole new language, and that is incredibly difficult and impressive. So give yourself credit for every step you take, no matter how small. Now, let me talk about how long it takes to improve your listening skills. This is a question I get all the time. Sarah, how long until I can understand everything in English? And the honest answer is, it depends. It depends on how much time you practice every day. It depends on your native language and how different it is from English. It depends on your learning methods and resources. But here is a general guideline. If you practice listening actively for at least 30 minutes every day, you should notice significant improvement in about 3 to 6 months. After 1 year of consistent daily practice, you should be able to understand most everyday English conversations and standard English content. After 2 years, you should be able to understand almost everything, including fast speech, different accents, and complex topics. But remember, this assumes consistent daily practice. If you only practice once or twice a week, it will take much longer. So the key is consistency. Let me share some encouragement with you. I have taught thousands of students over the years, and I have seen people go from complete beginners who could not understand a single English word to confident speakers who can work in English, watch English movies without subtitles, and make friends with people from all over the world. If they can do it, so can you. The only difference between the students who succeed and the students who give up is consistency and determination. The successful students just keep going, even when it is hard, even when they feel stuck, even when they want to quit. They keep showing up every day and practicing, and eventually they reach their goals. You can be one of these successful students. I believe in you. Now, let me give you a challenge. After you finish watching this video, I want you to do something. I want you to commit to listening to English for at least 15 minutes every single day for the next 30 days. It does not matter what you listen to, as long as it is English at your level. It could be another one of my videos.
It could be a podcast.
It could be a TV show. Just 15 minutes every day. No excuses. And I want you to keep a record. Write down what you listen to each day. At the end of 30 days, come back and watch this video again. I promise you will understand more than you do right now. And you will feel so proud of yourself for completing the challenge. Are you ready to accept this challenge? I hope you are. Before I finish, let me summarize the main points I talked about today. First, listening practice is one of the most important things you can do to improve your English. Second, you need to practice with comprehensible input, which means English that is at your level or just slightly above it. Third, do both active listening where you focus completely and passive listening where English is in the background. Fourth, use subtitles to help you in the beginning, but gradually try to listen without them. Fifth, practice every day, even if it is just for a short time. Consistency is more important than intensity. Sixth, expose yourself to different types of English, different accents, different topics, and different speeds. 7th, do not translate in your head. Try to think in English by creating mental images. 8th, learn chunks of language, not just individual words. 9th, be patient with yourself. Progress takes time, and it is not always linear. And 10th, enjoy the process. Choose content that interests you so that learning feels fun, not like work. I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I know this was a long lesson, but I hope it was helpful for you. I hope you feel more confident about how to improve your listening skills. I hope you feel motivated to practice every day. And I hope you remember that you are capable of learning English. It might take time, and it might be challenging, but you can do it. I have seen it happen so many times, and I know it will happen for you too. Just keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and keep moving forward. Do not compare yourself to others. Everyone learns at their own pace. Just focus on being better than you were yesterday. That is all that matters. If you enjoyed this lesson, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Super English Talks. I make new videos every week to help you improve your English. And if you have any questions, or if you want me to make a video about a specific topic, please leave a comment below. I read all the comments, and I love hearing from you. It makes me so happy to know that I am helping people all around the world learn English. You are not alone in this journey. There are millions of people just like you who are learning English right now. We are all in this together, supporting each other and cheering each other on. Before I go, I want to leave you with one final thought. Learning English is not just about memorizing words and grammar. It is about opening doors to new opportunities, new friendships, new experiences, and new ways of thinking. English connects you to people from every corner of the world. It gives you access to information, entertainment, and knowledge that you would not have otherwise. It allows you to share your ideas and your culture with others. So yes, learning English takes effort and time, but it is worth it. Every minute you spend practicing is an investment in your future, and that investment will pay off in ways you cannot even imagine yet. So keep going. Keep listening, keep learning, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. You have got this. I am rooting for you, and I cannot wait to hear about your success. Thank you again for being here with me today. This is Sarah from Super English Talks, reminding you that every expert was once a beginner. The only difference is that they did not give up. So do not give up either. I will see you in the next video. Until then, keep practicing, keep smiling, and keep believing in your English learning journey. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye.